Yo, you right there, Shadowback Neck. Welcome to another weekly edition of the Best Way to Smoke News, sponsored by none other than this glue gar. Shadowback Neck, if you get you this glue gar with your wraps, your blunts,
and your papers.
No drip lips.
No drip lips.
And this news is being presented to you by none other than your favorite smoking partner, Serpo.
Big J.
Yep, and Minnesota is O. What you got to do?
Make sure you stay elevated.
With who, though?
Big J.
Oh, there we go.
I said that at first, though.
Yeah. Yep. Minnesota is offering grants to help licensed cannabis farmers. All these grants is for what, though?
Man.
The Minnesota Office of Cannabis Management on Tuesday announced a $2 million grant program for farmers and organizations that will help farmers navigate the cannabis industry through training and education, technical support, and loans. So you're getting proper training through this little farming process.
Yeah.
That seemed like great because everybody need good bud.
Right.
Good grown bud, cared for, pest-free bud. You know what I'm saying? The OCM interim director, Eric Tubel, said the Can Grow Farmer Loan Grants will support farmers who want to enter or expand their presence in the cannabis space by offering the tools to succeed in the industry. Now, providing farmers the financial opportunity to take part in Minnesota's cannabis market and make strategic investments is the best way to ensure they can build equity. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of good. The money that's being made, or the grants, excuse me, that's going to be presented, you know what I'm saying, to those who apply properly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's granted too. It seemed promising.
That's right.
Minnesota's going to be getting some good bud, hopefully.
The who?
Minnesotians.
That's right, the Minnesotans. Hey, Bulls Biz gets the grumps. They grumpy. You know what I'm saying? They grumpy right now. Ask Congress to step in on hemp. So things are getting a little spicy in the world of getting the buzz. It seems the alcohol industry is feeling a bit threatened by the rise of hemp-derived goodies, like those THC-infused drinks, you know, the stuff that gives you a chill vibe without the hangover. And that's important, though. You don't want to be hungover. Apparently, big alcohol companies have been knocking on Congress' door, asking them to lay down some rules for these hemp products. They're not saying ban it, but more like, hey, let's make sure everyone's playing fair. They want clear guidelines, especially when it comes to those THC-infused beverages. I mean, what do y'all think about that out here? You know what I'm saying? Why the sudden interest? Well, some reports suggest the growers' popularity of hemp-derived THC products is cutting into alcohol sales. Most definitely it is, though. You know? People are choosing a different kind of buzz, and the alcohol industry is taking notice. The alcohol folks are saying they're all about responsible industry growth, the consumer safety. They're suggesting the only business already licensed to sell alcohol should be allowed to sell these hemp goodies. So basically they hating. Just listen to how we breaking it down. You know, they want to sell a shit. You know what I'm saying? They want to get it out their hands and they want to be able to sell it as of right now. You know, places that are used to checking IDs and following the rules. But it's not just about competition. There are also concerns about how these products are made, labeled, and sold. Some states are already trying to figure out their own rules, but the alcohol industry wants a federal standard. So make that move that y'all need to make. You know what I'm talking about. So what's next? It's all up to Congress. Well, will they step in and create a national framework for hemp-derived products, or will states continue to do their own thing? One thing's for sure, this is one interesting showdown to watch, man. So pay attention to what's going on.
But shigga deal.
On everything.
Alabama court ruling voids medical cannabis licenses. An Alabama court ruling just recently overturned the December 2023 issuing of medical cannabis licenses by the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission, the AMCC.
Mm.
That's crazy. You already know, like, I feel like, you know what I'm saying, medical cannabis is a must.
Cannabis, period.
Yeah, especially medical.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? And everything is medical.
We with that.
The ruling is the latest setback for Alabama's medical cannabis licensing process, which officials have attempted multiple times, but legal challenges have repeatedly hindered the process. The process may need to start again now, even though some operators have existed for over a year, believing they have secured a license. John McMillan, the AMCC director, expressed his frustration with the situation in a WSFA report. Just continued high level of frustration with the way this has evolved. Has become pretty obvious that there's some powerful forces in Alabama that are intent on keeping this program from getting going unless they have their way. Whatever way seems to be. They're coming at every angle. And this is per McMillan, you know what I'm saying? For this, it seemed like McMillan is pro-medical cannabis.
Right.
But the powers that be is wishy-washy. McMillan said this agency is considering its options and has not ruled out appealing the court's decision to invalidate the licenses.
Appeal.
So you Alabamians, get with the McMillians.
An appeal.
An appeal.
For sure. Do cannabis companies really have to wait for rescheduling to escape that 280E tax penalty? Taxes.
Bitch.
It's that time too, though. You know what I'm saying? The cannabis industry is in a weird spot, tax-wise. There's this thing called 280E, a tax code that basically says if you're dealing with controlled substances, you can't conduct normal business. You can't deduct, normal business expenses. Ouch. This means cannabis companies, even the legal ones, pay way more in taxes than other businesses. The big question is, do they have to wait for the federal government to reschedule cannabis to get rid of this headache? Rescheduling would mean cannabis is no longer considered as dangerous as heroin and could make 280E not apply. We already know it's not as dangerous as heroin. Come on, man. Some experts are saying, hold on a minute. They argue that because experts are already acknowledging that cannabis doesn't fit the criteria for a Schedule 1 or Schedule 2 substance, 280E shouldn't apply now. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't have to wait for federal rescheduling. Regardless of the official classification, it's like if everyone agrees it's not a super dangerous drug, why are we still taxing it like it is and it's not a drug? You feel me? The IRS, however, is sticking to its guns. They're saying that until the DEA officially changes the schedule, 280E is here to stay. Boo. They've even warned companies against trying to claim refunds based on the it should be rescheduled argument. There's a bit of a loophole, though. It's complicated, but companies can try to classify more expenses as cost of goods sales, COGS, are still deductible, even under 280E. It's a tricky workaround, and the IRS isn't exactly thrilled about it, but some companies are giving it a shot. It don't hurt to give it a shot, because I learned something a few years ago with Trump when they was on him about the taxes, and he said, I just know the loopholes. It's not my fault that I know what's going on. So the answer, it's a big maybe. Rescheduling would definitely solve the problem, but there's a legal argument that 280E shouldn't apply already. It's a messy situation. The cannabis companies are stuck in the middle trying to figure out how to pay their taxes without going broke. So, man, if you can get through that loophole, they should get through that loophole. You know what I'm saying? Real.
Bottom line.
Yep.
Man, in this news, you know what I'm saying, we bring to y'all, sometimes we be clowning this, that, and the other, but just pay attention to what's be going on, though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I was just talking about something in Alabama with medical cannabis that they're trying to, like, hope. This is a whole nother state. Nebraska committee rejects bill to implement voter-approved medical cannabis program. The Nebraska legislature's General Affairs Committee earlier this month voted 5-3 against advancing a bill to implement and regulate medical cannabis in the state. Now, medical cannabis, you know what I'm saying, in my opinion, is the purest thing. You know what I'm saying? It's not that pure because you're going to be hungry than the motherfucker. You're going to be sleepy than the motherfucker.
We all know what you mean.
Happy than the motherfucker.
Everything.
You know what I'm saying? So,
sure.
yeah, those are side effects.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like, it's not no over-the-counter, you know what I'm saying, hard pharmaceutical type stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm kind of like pro-medical cannabis.
Sure.
Where was I at? The disapproval by the committee leaves the state patients in limbo, despite the reforms being approved by 67% of voters last November. State Senator Ben Hansen, who introduced the legislation, told The Independent that the legislation is a must for the 2025 season to prevent the Wild West. Without a regulatory bill, the commission created by voters to regulate medical cannabis has no power or funding. I don't want to shut all doors right now, but some doors are closing and they're closing fast. And so we have to act. Hansen, you know what I'm saying, in a statement in The Independent. The committee had tried to negotiate an amendment with Hansen that would have regulated cannabis through the state's prescription drug monitoring system, in addition to seed to sale tracking system, and would have limited the medical cannabis qualifying condition list to just 15 ailments. The amendment was not agreed to. So again, it's like they trying to come up with rules, you know, to regulate medical cannabis. It may seem as if it's like right there, but then they coming up with certain stuff as a setback for the medical aspect. We're not even speaking recreational.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This is for people with medical conditions. And the research that's being presented, I don't know why you people are just going against it. And I'm going to say you people. You people that are against cannabis you people.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. And that's another weekly edition of the Best Way to Smoke News with your favorite smoking partner, Serpo.
Make sure you stay elevated with Big J.
Baby.